So now we've come into the courtyard where we have a statue. You know, you just walk by statues like this, you think, oh, you know, another naked ancient statue, whatever, right? No, this is actually a copy or a version of the first female nude in the entire Western artistic tradition. Right? This was a statue by the Athenian sculptor Praxiteles of the goddess Aphrodite, made for a temple on the island of Knidos. And it's Aphrodite is rising up out of the water where she's been born. And she has a little ewer of fresh water to wash the salt off herself. Someone has caught her eye. Not you. She's not worried about you. And she's covering her nudity, perhaps not very effectively. Now this statue was enormously important in the ancient world, famous, subject of poetry, so on and so forth. And it became a kind of tourist site in the Roman Empire, so people were always stopping on Knidos to visit the goddess. And as a result, copies and versions of her were made to spread throughout the Roman Empire. There were copies in senators' palaces, in bathhouses, all over the place. The result of which is that we still have some copies of it. The original, like most famous ancient statues, vanished by the end of antiquity. It burned in a fire in Constantinople. But many copies were left, so that even when the buildings they were in collapsed and so on and so forth at the end of antiquity, and they were broken, still several survived. So we have famous Venuses throughout European museums, like the Medici Venus, the Capitoline Venus. They're all the same versions of the same statue, the Cnidia. And she connects to our theme quite closely. We're told by the main author about her, Athenaeus, that she was modeled on the most famous hetaira of 4th century Athens, a woman called Phryne, who's a great model of a courtesan. Phryne, she's famously beautiful, right? What does it mean when you say they modeled the statue of the goddess on her? It's not necessarily a statement of fact, right? It means the statue is as beautiful as she is, she's as beautiful as the statue is. It's kind of, you know, a big compliment. But she's also very clearly part of brainy world, because she was put on trial for the crime of impiety, which is exactly what Socrates was tried for. You know, what impiety means is you're not talking about Zeus, you're talking about things like the divine. So those philosophy people, untrustworthy and not orthodox. And so she was one of them. Then the story, which I think that story is actually accurate, which is somewhat rare for ancient stories, but it goes downhill in terms of evidentiary value. We're told that when her lawyer was afraid that she was going to lose the trial, he pulled down her cloak and revealed her breasts to the jury, and they acquitted her.
She had good boobs.
No, I got
So you can believe that one if you like. I am dubious.